What's going on YouTube? Zarcher Bluth here, coming at you with another video. Wasn't it like video number 4? Yeah. Either way, I've lost count. Yeah, as per usual, let's do the spiel first, because why not? Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I really like to hear people's thoughts on this. It's a good medium for me to vent and then digest what the feedback is and then respond to it, so on and so forth. So if you're keen for dialogue, feel free to pop in your thoughts and, like I said, I'll respond accordingly. All right, this video number 4. Now, I want to do a huge salute, shout out to Crimson. First and foremost, shout out to you, brother. I apologize as well. I did crop the rest of your head out anyways in this image, but in the next image you're not cropped out, so you let me know if that's an issue, and for future reference, if I ever do a video on these people or on any subject matter, generally these people anyways, the way I normally do it is I'll crop your image because I'll watch your footage of it instead of giving them the views. That sounds really petty, but it is what it is. So, shout out to Crimson. Apologies for the cropping out. The next picture that I use, you'll see you are cropped in. So I hope that's consolation. Either way, let's get into... Sorry, how rude of me. I forgot to say, go and sub to Crimson because he's almost got 1,000 subscribers. And let's get him over that line, yeah? Now back to the topic. To this usual preemptor. I'm not a drama channel. I don't give a shit about the drama. For me, the drama it can be entertaining to watch at times, but I'm not in this for clout. I got a job. That's my income. So this is about trying to at least see about the changes that we hope to see as a movement, progressively speaking, right? We got to talk about this. This is a really long intro to it, but let's get into it. Cornbread tube. We got to talk about this. Look, the community as a whole, I'm not 100% aware of. There might be some differing points of view here, but this community is amongst the most problematic communities that I've seen on YouTube. The amount of dog whistling that I can hear within their content, it's alarming to me. Like, I'll put it frankly, right? If you were to replace their complexion with a lower count of melanin, and they said the same shit that they said, except they're referring to Caucasian people, you'd be looking at neo-Nazis. Minus, of course, they got dreadlocks. Neo-Nazis are generally skinheads. And it's problematic for me because I'm a progressive. I'm a person of color. I'm progressive. And I see these alarm bells, but I see a large group of leftists that almost use this community and support this community in a manner and a means that kind of reinforces the behavior and the ideology. And I'm always one that believes that an ideology can change. You can't be dogmatic with your ideas. They're ideas after all, right? You have to evolve them in light of new evidence. And I've just been finding it really problematic. The main issue I have with this group, outside of the dog whistling that they engage in, because they engage in dog whistling, all they do is their viewpoint that they are to treat black people and minorities as a monolith when it comes to progressivism. And it's almost as if you don't hold their views or support their views and you don't toe their party line, you're I'm going to say the term anyways. The 3 terms. You're a house nigger, you're a coon, or you're an Uncle Tom. And to me, that just don't sit right. You know what I mean? The math, to quote the man with the dreads in this image, FD signifier, the math ain't mathin'. Because you motherfuckers sit there and you talk about how you're progressives. You then sit there and talking, in FD's case, seizing the means of power to get black self-determination, which is a dog whistle. Like, how are you going to seize power, first and foremost? And what is your version of self-determination? My view of not so much self-determination, but of society is that we need to engage with society in a manner, and I'm not talking about respectability politics, because I'm talking about white people as well. White people, black people, Asian, any color of that rainbow. Let's use Reggie Jackson's Rainbow Coalition. We all need to work together. And a rising tide raises all ships. Do you understand what I'm saying? That sounds like I'm using analogies to cloud my point of view. My point of view, I'll clarify it further, is I believe in equality. I believe in people cooperating with one another, racial cooperation. And I believe in integration into society. Not assimilation, integration. There's a difference. Assimilation involves the outsider or quote-unquote minority absorbing into the society. So essentially losing their culture, themselves, and adopting all aspects of the culture and such within the society that they live. A good example would be in Switzerland. If you don't speak French in Switzerland, they're not going to let your ass in. You have to assimilate into their society as a prerequisite to getting citizenship, from what I've understood, right? Integration is different. Integration is where, let's say, for example, you have a migrant move into the States. The migrant is able to provide aspects of their culture that they want to share with the hegemony, the majority, I guess you can say, the native population, and the native population does the same. And there's an exchange of cultures, cuisines, things like that, and you treat it like a melting pot. That's what you want. We're not quite there in a lot of modern societies, but we're getting close to it. I think that integration is better for everyone, because it means that you're able to look at someone, let's use an example, if they're a Thai person, and you're a Thai person, you have all the same rights that I have all the same rights that you have, let's work together and share. And you have beautiful things pop out of that. You know what I mean? With cornbread tubers, and the theme is overwhelming. And it's funny because they're such an underwhelmingly small minority of the black diaspora. But nonetheless, these bread tubing motherfuckers will sit there and basically spat out black separatist and black nationalist talking points. Now, black nationalism isn't that much of an issue, because the concept of black nationalism is pride in spite of the adversity that you faced, not pride because you're white, if that makes sense. So if you say black pride, when I say black pride, I'm talking about being proud of my heritage and also being proud of my skin color, in spite of the fact that for a long time my skin color was demonized. Whereas if I was to say white pride, that carries very different undertones and overtones too. Black separatism is different. Black separatism is essentially taking the bigotry and the racism that we've experienced as people of color, internalizing it, digesting it. Your body's not being able to deal with it properly, so you externalize it back onto white people who didn't have anything to do with the prejudice that you faced. Because let's be honest here, white people aren't a monolith too. And sure, there are some white people that are ignorant, some that are malevolent, but the majority just want to be better. They want to live in peace with you. And they want to essentially have you as a friend. You know what I mean? So when I hear people like FD Signifier, for example, I haven't dropped a name yet, but this is the first name, FD Signifier. There's another guy called Turb, TIIIRB, I think it is. Endless Cemetery. Motherfuckers like Nico House. Soul Bunny. Like, do you want me to continue? I think I've got a few more off the top of my head. Professor Flowers. Lua is in that as well. When I hear these people talk about essentially expunging white people from the community or removing themselves from society so they can live amongst themselves in quote unquote peace, these are all talking points that just reek of Thomas Sowell. And I've got another video coming out in the future of a guy by the name of What Ray Say, who reviews Thomas Sowell's work and some of the views that he shares. And it's, call a spade. They're just racist talking points. The only difference is, one is racism lashing out at hegemony. The other one is there to uphold the hegemony. That's it. And I'll give you other examples. I remember, yes, it was Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker had FD Signifier on his stream, which I don't have an issue with. I think that Hassan's free to have whoever he wants on there. I think Hassan plays a fairly important role within the progressive space as far as bringing Zoomers and such into the mindset. And look, we had a bit of a camera change to Turb, who I'll get into in a moment. Have FD on there, and you sort of say yikes to that to a certain extent. But not only did I say yikes to it, I sort of provided context, and people were asking for examples of FD's black separatist talking points. And the ones I lean into, generally speaking, are like the ones, his original take from Fly in the Milk, where he talks about black children being better off hanging out with just other black children. And that means going to school in predominantly black communities with no data to back that up. There's also him molding over the fact that his grandfather-in-law was a white Spanish guy, which is just insane. There's that. There's also Spot the White Guy. If we leap outside of FD Signifier's view and we just look at Cornbread Tube as a whole, we've got guys like Turb calling guys like Shark 300 a house nigger and a coon because somehow he had an issue with the anti-miscegenation post, which is insane. And Endless Cemetery said that. Let's just do a little bit of a thought experiment before I wrap this up, because oh, no, we got plenty of time. We got 8 more minutes. Let's do a bit of a thought experiment. We'll do about 5 or 6. Do a role play. I'm a white guy. And I'll say something like, I don't mind. I don't like it when, we got that one white guy and he goes to a black community, comes back like the ice is cooler over there, like they got a bit more spice and seasoning on their food. I don't like that. That ain't cool. That's uppity shit. Just because you want to be cultured. Now, I honestly don't believe that white people, white children, are better served going to an all black or predominantly black school and being the only white kid there. They're better off hanging out with their white brethren. Sounds a bit racist, doesn't it? Like that, to me, reads as a white supremacist or pro-segregation talking point. Let's do another one. Hey, and I'm doing like a southern accent. I apologize for anyone in the South who's progressive, but I'm doing it in a southern accent because that's a stereotype for an Aussie, right? Actually, we'll do one with the Aussie one. these black fellas, I realised, I just found out, I did a DNA test, my wife did actually, and I found out my grandfather was a black fella. And I was like, fuck. Who have I been with? It's like 3 generations, but, it's not that big. It's still there. Sounds pretty racist, doesn't it? That was FD Signify when his wife did a 23andMe test. Let's do another one. Okay, let's do a different white person accent. Let's do a Boer accent or a South African accent. This is a really bad one. Feel free to critique the accent if you want. I don't know about you, but I always play spot the bar whenever I'm hanging out with a group of Kafirs. And if I'm the only bar there, or the only white man there, they're all watching me, and bad things can happen to me. And I've got to be very vigilant with things like that. That sounds pretty racist, doesn't it? It's a good thing a majority of white South Africans don't hold that view. Not anymore. But do you see the point I'm trying to raise? Let's do another one. We'll go back to a southern. Well, we'll just do a white guy. Oh, gosh. Patrick Mahomes, his wife's black. Oh, jeez. He's messing up the bloodline. Oh, we can't have that. Boom. Endless symmetry. Do you see where the issue lies? Actually, let's do one more. We are the indigenous people of this land. That was a shit accent anyways. Indigenous people being able to kick white people off, the colonizers, any other, pretty racist. All of those instances are racist when you're a white person talking about black people, as they are racist if you're a black person talking about white people. That is fucking racist. Now, I apologize for putting you through all of those role plays and those shitty accents, but people need to understand that these are views that a lot of these motherfuckers in Cornbread Tube have. Like FD Signifier, he has a polished main channel. He makes great video essays. You catch that motherfucker on his B-sides, and he's letting it loose. And it's just like listening to Dr. Umar Johnson, but he likes trans people. You feel what I'm saying? And that's fine. Like, all for that. All for the support of LGBTQI community. I think the more people we can get supporting that movement and people who are marginalized because of their sexuality, because of their gender and things like that, the better, right? But they're failing the very basic litmus test for a progressive by holding pretty racist points of view. And it seems like we want to overlook that as a community, which to me, as a black leftist, and I'm leaning into my ear poll as I do per usual, it's perplexing because it means that we are excluding well-meaning liberals because of some perceived ignorance and allowing in people who should know better, who do know better, but still are willing to engage in separatist talking points and racist points of view. And no, I don't know about you. I hope my voice isn't too soothing, but I'm a bit husky today and out of breath too. I don't know about you, but I thought that we as a movement were better than that. And we as a movement would take someone who holds views that are supportive of equality and chastise those who don't. And what I mean by that is these guys are also the same people who seem to sling mud at debate bros because they're too problematic, despite the fact I have just read out some very problematic ideas that they hold. So I hope you guys take this as food for thought. Like I said, if you disagree with anything I'm saying, comment. But look, if we're going to keep holding water for these guys, just don't know. It's going to be harder and harder for the majority, the people we need to convince and bring over to our side. The majority being people who are just sitting on the fence, kind of milquetoast, to take us seriously and start taking our ideas seriously as well. But look, guys, I'll see you all. Crimson, I told you I'll put you in here if you watch the whole thing. But be easy. I'll see you all next time. Bye.